Hey, thanks for joining me here on November 4th, 2024. What a day known for so much. But the big thing that pops out in my mind is Color the World Orange Day. This is unlike the Wear Orange Day against gun violence, which is usually in June. This is about people who suffer from pain just in general. It was designated quite some time ago. So, Color the World Orange Day. A few other, it's Job Action Day as well. So get out there and help some folks get some jobs out there, I suppose. Anyway, I have a great show today. I speak with a singer, songwriter, musician, like I do on many of these episodes. His name is Slaw. Real name is Scott Colson, but people would call him Coleslaw over the years, giving away the lead here, not burying it. We get a little bit into that. Coleslaw became Slaw. So, and as I repeat in this episode, if you go to look him up, you're going to get a lot of coleslaw recipes. Anyway, Slaw has a great new album just released. It's called Here I Come, available where you get your music. Slaw talks about pretty much how all this came together. He went to Georgia Tech. We get a little bit into inside baseball, into the ATL area, Atlanta, and his time there at Georgia Tech in the early 1990s. And then he had graduated and went to a whole bunch of different things, tried a whole bunch of different businesses, and did that, was a great entrepreneur, and decided, you know what? This whole business thing is kind of getting old. Not so much old, but he pretty much always wanted to be into music throughout a lot of that time. So he discovered he had these talents when he was over at Georgia Tech. Even going back to high school, he started writing songs and great new release. And check it out. We just had a great time and talk to you on the other side of this. How you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Good, good. Here in the ATL metro area.
Nice. Well, cool. I'm actually from Georgia, of course. Went to school
Yeah.
at Georgia Tech. I lived downtown for a long time. Where are you in Atlanta?
I'm in Peachtree Corners.
Okay. Yeah. I placed grew up in Peachtree City, basically. Born in
Oh, the
Macon,
other side, yeah.
Peachtree City, went to Georgia Tech and lived downtown for a long time. And yeah, got a place up mainly in Chattanooga now, but know all about Atlanta a little too well.
Yeah, it's great to have somebody from the area here. We get that every now and then here. I usually talk to a lot of people from Nashville, but it's
Yeah.
great to hear that there's so much talent here in the Atlanta
Oh,
metro and in Georgia itself.
yeah, I mean, I know it a little too well, like I said.
Georgia Tech. Wow. Now, when did you graduate from Georgia Tech?
1992,
92.
like
I
yesterday.
thought you
Yeah,
were more recent. I did talk with somebody, another artist who is a lot more recent than you. There's just
yeah,
something about people who go to Georgia Tech, and you got some of these people who like get into talent shows and get into this stuff, and it's like this is not what they really went to school for. They're, it's usually like engineering or something like that, rigorous study, and then they got that creative side.
yeah. I'm not sure how that all works out, but I don't know. I got a little of both, I guess. So
Yeah. What did you go to Tech for?
I have a degree in industrial engineering and in industrial management also. So yeah, I mainly went to party though.
Which there's no shortage
I was
of.
on the extended plan, going to school and in Atlanta downtown, it's like a, you know, fairyland for me. So I mean, it was great to just, you know, go to
Yeah,
school. Yeah, I milked as long as I could and then figured I needed to get out in the real world and actually do something. So
yeah, and a lot of people might not realize beyond this region, it's tough to get into Georgia Tech. It's pretty high
yeah,
qualifications, good grades and everything. So I'm sure it wasn't easy getting in.
yeah, I don't, it wasn't, but I don't think I'd get in today. It's really hard today.
Really? Yeah.
It's way worse. Yeah. So anyway, I got lucky, but it worked out. But yeah, I loved it, and I just actually got back from I still stay connected. I just was in Ireland actually. Georgia Tech. I don't know if you follow college football, but we opened the season against Florida State in Dublin, Ireland, and I
That's
just got
right.
back from that trip. It was epic. Yeah.
Wow. You're a
Yeah.
dedicated yellow jacket. That's a big deal.
I like to be. I like to be. Yeah. We're
Nice.
2-0 for the first time in, since I can remember. But, you know,
Yeah. So yeah, I've been in the ATL Metro for over 3.5 decades now. And my day job, I'm a creative services editor producer which is now called Warner Brothers Discovery. And we just moved across the street from Georgia Tech. I see McCamish Pavilion from where I sit on most days when I'm in
oh
the
man.
office.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very, yeah, know right where that is.
Georgia Tech is in Midtown Atlanta, for those who don't know. And yeah, you talk about partying and everything. You had total access to a very big city.
Yeah. I mean, kind of playing it in a big city with a, fraternity life, 60 of your best friends. It's hard to get, hard to beat, in my mind.
I've been by that
Hard to
fraternity
leave.
row over there. Yeah. It is hard to leave. You're always a
Yeah.
yellow jacket.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I bet you attend that big game around Thanksgiving. Clean old fashioned hate.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think we think it's a little bigger than the other folks do, but yeah, I do get back when I can. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're
It's been a
Georgia,
tough
yeah.
road here lately, but
So you're Georgia Tech. This is early 1990s. And
yeah.
what gave you the bug? Was it a talent show? Like I think I was reading in your bio that might be part of that got you into really becoming a singer-songwriter.
Well, I've always just played around with music. I don't have any kind of formal training. I was never, taught I can't read music or anything like that, but just always have played around with it. And I think, but we were actually just messing around and cleaning dishes or something, and I was singing a song, in the kitchen or something, and somebody kind of went, "Whoa." And they needed somebody to do Greek week or whatever it was that week. I was a freshman, and so we went in and did the talent show and won. And then so that was kind of like, well, wow, it was pretty cool, early on. But that wasn't anything new. I just, so I did that, and then we, just met some other guys, around and just really just played around with it. It never got really serious at all. And then after college, kind of actually hooked back with some buddies from high school that I knew that are really good musicians, and we hooked up, a few years after school, and did a lot of different bands, different interesting stuff, a lot of blues stuff actually, blues, classic rock and roll stuff, all kinds of stuff through the years, and played some interesting joints around Atlanta. But it's always kind of a hobby. It was always in bands and mainly doing covers and stuff. But always wanted to kind of do my own thing and see where that went, and just kind of just fully create something. And so that's how we landed where we are today. A million years later. So
Doesn't feel like lifetimes ago. You're talking 92. It's just
yeah,
it's
yeah.
unbelievable how fast the time flies.
I know. It seems like yesterday, but also a long time. I don't know. Kind of both.
Yeah, it really is. That's how, your perception of time is. So going through Peachtree City, the city that's well south of Atlanta and full of golf carts, as
Yeah.
as it's well known around these parts. Um,
Yeah.
what
Rock and roll Mecca, man. Man. Peachtree City.
yeah, what inspired you, Peachtree City growing up? Obviously, I hear a lot in your music. It's like you got that Otis Redding swag going and a little bit of those influences. Did you listen to a lot of that kind of music when you were growing up there?
I did. Well, and I should maybe back up a little bit. I was born in Macon, Georgia, so maybe that makes a little more
Yeah,
sense.
with
And,
the Otis Redding connection, which
yeah, and I
yeah,
guess my claim to fame, I guess my one claim to fame on my family, famous is my cousin actually was the lead singer for the Atlanta Rhythm Section back in the
yeah.
day. If you're familiar with ARS and those guys, so I guess it's in my blood a little bit, but my family's always into music on both sides, and but I was always kind of drawn to the older stuff, kind of weirdly. I don't know. I was drawn to all the blue stuff, old rock and roll. I was a huge like Elvis fan, and when I say Elvis, I mean like early late 50s Elvis, not fat 1973 Elvis, or whatever that is. I mean, when he was a badass, that's what I like. So that kind of stuff. And I was big on R&B and Motown and that kind of old school type of stuff. So I think it just kind of all melded together. I guess that's kind of one thing, when you do
Yeah.
something late in life, you've heard it all, at some point. So probably a little bit of everything in there, in the music these days. So
Yeah, it definitely I could feel that influence, and obviously Macon has a really rich history, going back to Little Richard and Otis Redding. I went to the Otis Redding Ranch, probably like 30 years ago or so. So it's like buried away outside of Macon there. We had to follow Otis Jr. to get to it. It's pretty fascinating.
there's
I saw
actually
the
wow, I didn't even
yeah.
know that was there.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
called the Big O Ranch. It's well outside of It's so buried away. We had to follow him. I don't even know what roads you had to take. And Mrs. Redding showed us the slippers that they found Otis in when he
Mrs. Redding.
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really
That's
nice.
all.
I think her name's Alma. It's coming back to me now.
Wow.
Yeah, it
That's
was nice.
when was this? This
Oh,
is
probably like 30 years ago. I was
okay.
doing a shoot for CNN. I was acting as a sound tech for them. And we did a little package for them. They used to have a showbiz show. And we went out there and did like a nice feature on them. And he had a couple of kids. They all sat down with us. And yeah, it was great. I mean, really cool.
So cool.
She kept the family room very much intact the way that Otis had it. And
Is it still there? I mean, is it still?
I believe it would be. Yeah, I don't think anybody's touched it. She's still around. She's been, holding the estate, is always in charge of it. So anytime anybody wants music, you need to live off of that stuff. So she's
Very
really,
cool.
really smart.
Very cool.
Yeah, I think she's still around. She's probably maybe in her 80s by now. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, Macon's was a hot spot. My aunt tells stories about hanging out with like Leonard Skinner at
Ah,
Lake
wow.
Wabasaki or something. Or
Oh, that's so cool.
so, yeah, very cool. So
Lake Winnipesaukee. Now that's outside of Chattanooga.
I
That's
said Lake, no, Lake Tobosoffke, which is near
Tobesaki.
near
Yeah.
near Macon. I think I
Okay.
could
Yeah. Yeah.
have
That's
also said
right.
Macon, but yeah.
There's so many connections here, and yeah, and again, you feel that in your music. You have a brand new release coming out. This is early November, which we will be releasing this. How did this all come about? This sounds like a really great project.
Well, it's interesting. So, I don't know how far you want to go back, but we are releasing this now, here in November. And I had really started this process about, I don't know, call it 4 or 5 years ago, really kind of
Yeah.
this, kind of the project of this. And it really got started, Bob, by me kind of discovering this online collaboration, because I know you probably know, and other artists probably talked about this, but it's really amazing, when you're playing music and you're like, man, I like this piece. If I only had a cellist that could play this piece, or if I only had I need a, whatever, piece, or somebody who's right down the street. If you don't have that in your hometown, which you don't ever have, you can't really do what you want to do. So when I discovered these collaborative websites, and you could just, okay, I'm going to write this song and throw this out here, and I'm going to get this cello guy. I had people doing pieces for me over, internationally, and it was just incredible. So it really just kind of lit a fire, for me, like, wow, I can really get this done. And then I probably spent, I had a lot of these songs are songs that I, kind of had in the hopper in the back of my head for a long time, but I really kind of in earnest, put pen to paper and started and finished, the songs and got them all together. And then, started working with Erin Anderson in Nashville. She started consulting for me. I let her listen to some
Mhm.
stuff. She's like, yeah, this is good, but I think first step is to get this recorded. So I'm like, okay, that's all, that's great. So went to Nashville, found his producer. His name was Sean Byrne, incredibly talented, producer there and musician. And long story short, we went through the process of, laying everything out, brought in some incredibly musicians there locally in Nashville to fill all the pieces together. And actually had it in the hopper about 2 years ago, ready to go.
Hmm.
And at about that time, my business partners at the time, because again, all it's always been just kind of a hobby for me. So, we kind of agreed to, all right, it's time to sell the business. So that was a kind of a year and a half long, pretty intense process. So I had to kind of put everything down and put my head down and get that done. And we finished that about a year and a half ago, and I called Aaron back and said, "Hey, I think I'm ready to move forward on this again." And so we've pulled it out of the hopper, so to speak, and here we are, ready to release it in November. Super excited. Yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting with this technology. Like you're able to get all that together. And I've these artists who I've been talking with the last couple of years, it's just really incredible that, yeah, if you need to get that cello, you need to get that sax, you need to get that, you could do it by files now instead of trying to assemble everybody in one big old grand
It's
studio.
incredible. It's awesome. It really is amazing.
Yeah, it has its advantages, and then the old schoolers are just like, oh gosh, it's so much better when we can all be in collaborating and,
Well,
setting it down to tape.
I would tend to agree. It is better. Without question, it's better in person. But I mean, there's not a like the cellist played. Brian Sutherland is not in Peachtree City. He's in Nashville.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you need somebody that good. He's probably not in your hometown. So you know, you need to reach out, and the technology does that for you. But anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. And also I feel a little bit of Darius Rucker in some of this. It's just who
Man,
has
I
a really
appreciate you
great.
saying that because I've heard that from a couple of people, and I actually have gone back and listened to my songs and go, man, Darius Rucker ought to sing this. This is like
Yeah,
tailor
yeah.
made for him. This would be great if he sang it.
Well,
Hopefully,
you're
I did it.
doing it. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like tag you're it.
yeah.
It's like, he would probably say that. It's like, this is coming from you. You're the songwriter here. So your songwriting method, you didn't really start doing this till in high school? And did you kind of put it to the side for a while, then you kind of joined the real world and kind of returned to that?
Yeah, well, I never like put it aside completely, Bob. I just, like I said, I don't have any formal training, but I don't know. I've told the story a couple times. There's a song on the record called "Baby Don't Cry."
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
vividly
very nice.
remember when I wrote that song when I think I was like 19 or something. I remember because I was just learning to play guitar. I was just messing around with it. I knew like three chords, right? And I remember just playing, one chord and another chord and two chords and then just kind of singing over the top of it. And I was like, oh, I can write a whole song with two chords. It's pretty,
Isn't that amazing?
pretty cool. Yeah, it was cool. So I guess that kind of opened my eyes to, that's my songwriting, education there. But it was really just self-discovery, if you will. I've never been taught a method. I don't have a particular method, but if I had to say, so it definitely starts with the hooks and the melodies, and then build it backwards from there.
Yeah, and that's the kind of song where you're counseling yourself or the character after a relationship, after
Yeah.
yeah, and that probably this I was seeing that's the song that's probably the oldest as far as lyric wise goes on this album.
It definitely is. And like I said, I was 18 or something and stupid and drunk probably when I wrote that. So I did tweak it later in life, but the music's the same. You know.
It's amazing though. Yeah, like you look at lyrics from that long ago and it's like, well, from that my perspective has just changed because life gets in
Exactly.
there and
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
It's cool to look back on some of these things, and most of the songs I'll tell you, and if any of my buddies are listen, my songs they wrote were just stupid, frankly. You write songs and you're just like being silly and having fun with them. But on this album, when you do something real and you really do something, the lyrics become important and they need to mesh with the music and tell a story. So I used to have arguments with buddies all the time, and I was always they were like, the lyrics are so important, and I was always on, man, it's the music. The music's got to be good. I don't even understand the lyrics in a lot of songs, and I
No,
love
you
them.
don't.
But the more I'm going to listen to them, the more I kind of realize when you get that mesh of the two, I think that's when it's really, really special.
Yeah, I think about like early Beatles. It's like some of those were just silly lyrics. They were kids, and then it got serious as time went on. So there's no, I think people somewhat overthink it, overthink the art too much a bit at times. It's like you could take different approaches, and that's the beauty of it. So yeah, I mean, like early Beatles, yeah, she loves you, yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, it's like, but they got so deep, just what 5 years later because they grew so much, and you're just doing it from so many different perspectives. So don't know if there's just like one, rule. I think people maybe tend to overthink their passion.
I I agree. So I speculate that, and I haven't done a lot of collaborations with songwriters, but I suspect a lot of it starts with the music. Like I saw, Get Back, this incredible Beatles documentary. I'm sure
Yeah,
you've seen,
yeah,
and you see how
extensive.
when you see him actually writing Get Back, you know,
Yeah,
that's a largely like it happens for me. Just he just gets that melody, that feeling of whatever, and then he threw Get Back in there, and then back, from there. That's kind of how it works, at least from my perspective. I can't imagine being Elton John and getting a poem from Bernie Taupin and trying to write a song from it. I mean
yeah. Some people
that
would say,
doesn't
"Oh,
happen.
wait, Elton's only doing 50% of the work." But like, yeah, if you're looking at a poem, I mean, how do you come up with that? How do you come up with Rocket Man? I mean, that's incredible. It's
It's
layered
amazing.
so much.
Yeah, I couldn't do that though. I could never start with a poem and you know put music to it. I
Yeah,
never
yeah.
tried. Anyway, I gotta go the other direction.
Yeah, Elton became a complete machine. I mean, once he got it down, once they got the partnership and the rhythm down, wow, what a
Uh,
catalog. It's just
just
massive.
it's insane. It's insane. I don't know how. And if he, if it went that direction, it's even more mind-boggling for me. It's amazing.
Yeah. So putting this together and you got great people in Nashville. So it's got that vibe and knowing the right people to get this together. You have a really good mixer on this. Maybe a little shout out to your producer and mixer.
Heck yeah. I mean, his name's Sean Byrne, and I think look at his website, and I think it says greatest, best kept secret in Nashville. I'd agree with that completely. He also he's and amazing mix. We remastered everything. We came back and did this. He remastered it. It sounds incredible. He did all the guitar on the album too, went in, as well and coordinated things. So, I've never worked with that type of producer, who's so well connected, and he brought in some just amazing talent. Yeah, it was just an amazing experience for me. I get chills listening to these people play my music. It's like, wow, this is great. And then when it
Yeah.
all came together, it was just really, really exciting.
So going back to just being after Georgia Tech, you ran a business. What type of this was beach rental equipment? Is that what you got into in the real
Yeah,
world?
so I'm sure you've gone and rented a house somewhere, right? Like
Yeah.
on the beach, right? So whatever, Hilton Head, South Carolina is one of our markets, right? So you
Yeah.
go to a reservation with Hilton Head Vacation Properties. We'd be integrated with their reservation software. So right after you make your reservation, you'd get an email from us that would say, "Hey Bob, click here to make your selections." I say it did. It's still going on. It's called Vacay Life, and basically, you get an email, you click on it, and you'd have a full array of umbrellas, bikes, watercraft, whatever it is you need for the beach. Make a selection. We deliver it. Pick it up when you're done, so you get exactly what you want on your vacation, basically. So. Little plug there for Vacay Life,
There you
but
go. Yeah, look that
yeah,
up, folks. It's
yeah.
just Hilton Head's awesome. I love going there. It's been years since I've visited, but yeah, if you want to get into it, how did you get into doing this business straight out of school?
Well, it wasn't straight out of school. Just like
Okay.
my 18th business after a bunch of
Oh,
failures and struggles or whatever. But this one, the one that finally worked. But we were I was in the vacation rental management business itself, actually managing the houses, and just kind of saw the opportunity on the beach gear side, and really, saw it was an opportunity to really scale it and be successful, and that's what we did. And I divested out of it about a year and a half ago, so I'm retired, and that's why I'm able to actually, record music.
oh, that's awesome. That's really inspirational to hear that. So yeah, I mean, but in business, and you've obviously wanted to be an entrepreneur. So yeah, you got to get up and you got to fail. I mean, that's the only way you learn.
Oh, I was good at it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was good at it.
That's
So,
I mean, I think every
yeah.
successful business person can probably go around and say that. It's like you gotta fail. It's like, if success happens on that first try, I don't think that's a good thing. I think
Now, I
probably
mean, I
not for your
guess it's
soul.
happened, but I mean, a certain amount of it's inevitable, and that's how you grow. So I was able to grow a lot because I failed a lot, really. But No, and yeah, you're exactly right. And it sounds like interviewed and interacted with a lot of like business folks and travel folks. So it sounds like we're speaking your language here a little bit, I
Oh,
guess.
totally. Yeah. And before I even did this podcast, I did a travel column. So I was really out there just meeting all kinds of people, mainly the Southeast. So
Yeah.
I wrote about a lot of places. And Chattanooga is one of my favorite markets.
All right.
Love visiting there.
All right. Well, you got to drop by sometime when you're in town. We'll hit the Whiskey Thief or
Oh,
something there.
so
You know what I'm
it's been
talking
a long
about?
time. No, it's been a long time since I've been
Okay.
there. I remember the aquarium. It has one of the best aquariums there, and but there's a lot of good art life there too. And been to that tow truck museum and places like
Yeah.
that.
What is that? I mean, I know we're here to talk about music, but
Yeah,
I can't
Chattanooga,
believe there's a
Tennessee.
towing museum, right? I mean, what's that? What is it like in there? Is it just tow trucks and
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. That's where
is
I guess that's where it was invented, was Chattanooga of all places.
that
So
okay? I
yeah,
mean, I
some
see the sign
serious.
all the time, but I like gotta go there. But the tow
There's a
truck
song
museum
in
hasn't
that.
been a huge draw for me, yet. But sure,
Great downtown. It's just really awesome. Yeah, and
yeah,
it's
we
come a
love.
long way because I remember Chattanooga, yeah, late 80s,
Oh
early
yeah,
90s. It's gotten really nice.
rough. Yeah, it really has come a long way, and it's got a bright future too. So yeah, we're really excited to be there.
Good place to be, and there's a lot of talent up there too. Tennessee is just all known for
Yeah,
just an incredible amount of talent
yeah.
up there. So absolutely beautiful. So with this new album, it has so many great tracks. Do you have a favorite out of one of them? I mean, they're all like your kids probably, so it's probably kind of tough to pick one.
Yeah.
Who's the golden child out of the 11 tracks there?
I don't know. I guess I do have a little affinity for Baby Don't Cry because it's the oldest, I guess, it goes
Yeah.
way back and it's just kind of hung around all these years, and it never went away. So I don't know. I really like that one. I also there's a couple of them that are kind of that are personal, but one I really like the music on is well, I like Hang My Head and Cry, which is one we're going to release that one I think maybe before the album comes out, so get to hear that one as a single. And yeah,
Nice.
I would say those are probably a couple of my favorites there. But
Yeah, Hang My Head and Cry. Isn't that your COVID song? That's basically
it is.
about, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I wrote that during COVID when we were all locked up, and just kind of good from a music writing standpoint because you're not much else to do. But
Yeah, you got to
I
find
really
that.
hated it. Yeah, it really got to me when, people say you can do this, you can't do that, and you mentioned earlier about, failing and getting back up, so that's why
Yeah.
maybe you put that in the song. So just to know that, if, we didn't really get close to that, but just, to kind of get that feeling of, man, this is so important, just the ability to have the freedom to do what you want to do and try it. And if it doesn't work out, get up and do something else. And so that was really on my mind during COVID. And uh, yeah, I think that's where that whole song came from, really. And hopefully people listen to it, you really hear that in it, I would imagine.
Yeah, a ton of artists were, in lockdown, more so than we ever were here in the Southeast. I think by May of 2020, I mean, I felt like we were pretty much getting back to normal, even though a lot of the country wasn't. But yeah, I was like, "What's your problem up there in Boston?" I visited twice during there. I went to Boston. I was actually kind of scared, like they're not going to let me off the plane. I'm coming from, Lax, Georgia. They might think I'm bringing the germs over here or something. But yeah, I landed at Logan, pretty much had the whole place to myself, and they're like, "Move along, it's okay." I'm like,
You're
"Okay."
good. Yeah. Yeah. But I go up traveling northeast. I see still a few more masks than you do in the southeast.
Yeah.
They still got it going on a little bit up there. But anyway.
To each his own, I guess.
Yep.
I don't get driving along and having a mask on and a shield at the same time, and who
In
else?
your own
Nobody else
car.
is in the car.
It's amazing.
I guess maybe they're feeling the AC system has some germs on it that's going to get them. Who knows?
Hey,
It's
it's fine. Whatever they want to do. That's their. Fine
It's
with
your
them.
choice. I
That's all
wouldn't
right.
shame
Let's
them,
go.
you know.
You know?
Well, I think a lot of it is maybe some people have, severe anxiety from it. And, I could kind of
Well,
understand that it's a
no
mental
question.
thing.
And maybe they really do have some serious some medical issues. I mean, certainly, and you see that
Yeah.
people, and it does make some sense, when folks are out in in the public and so forth. But, you do see some of these cases. It's like, what do you're by yourself in your in your own car
Yeah. Sometimes it's a head scratcher, but
a little
everybody's
bit,
got their own story, I'm sure.
a little bit.
So you have an ode to Led Zeppelin on this. This is a really interesting track, and you could see that this, taps into your early roots there.
Yeah,
Heavy Load. That's an interesting one, and it really has that vibe to it. A little bit
yeah.
of Skinnerd in there as well.
I'm glad I'm glad you picked up on that. So I tell a little story about that one. So I like that. That's another one that I really like. Bob, you asked me, but the heavy load's cool. We did the track and I was really happy with it. And I was talking to Sean and I was like, man, I go, uh, uh, wouldn't it be cool? Actually, I think that the lady that I used to play with actually picked up and had a recorder one time. She's like, was going to play a piece or something with it. And I said, wouldn't it be cool if this sounds like it would be like that had that like that Zeppelin, that stairway type of sound to it. Wouldn't it be cool if we had recorders on here? I go, you don't know anybody who plays a recorder, do you? He's like, yeah, of course I do. And I'm like, you do? And he goes, yeah, I know this guy. He's blind and he plays like 90 instruments or something like that. And I'm like, okay, well, let's give it a shot. So I don't know, a week went by, never saw the guy. Came back. Sean played me the track on it, and I was just blown away. I was just, I mean, you've heard it. I mean, it was perfect. I was just like,
Yeah.
man, that
The recorder of all things. Yeah, I
yeah.
remember they.
Well, he did it. He did multiple recorders, and harmonized it, and it's excellent. Yeah, like John Paul Jones all over again.
There you go. Yeah, it does. It brings me back to that. They tried teaching us the recorder when we were like in fourth grade. My
That's
God,
the
that
one you get, right? When you start band. Yeah,
yeah, all those poor music teachers. Oh, God bless all of them, right? It's really amazing.
gotcha.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Led Zeppelin really, as a kid, I remember when they were together, and just they nobody else was like them. It was just an interesting time in the 70s. You just had,
Still is. I mean, man, I think it's untouchable stuff. I mean, that's
yeah.
the the quintessential for me, I think. So,
Yeah, I thought they're getting better and better and better. And it's yeah, when they came out with In Through the Outdoor, I was like, oh, they're gonna be around forever. No, not really. It's like you had all these disappointments in life, but now in hindsight, yeah, they had their time. Like, oh, it's just getting better and better. Oh, I'm just getting into John Lennon. Oh, great. Oh, thanks. Cutting all that short. It's always a disappointment.
I hear you. Yeah, it's hard to go out on top, but yeah, you
Yeah.
know, but the body of work is just unbelievable. I mean, I'm hugely inspired by them. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it totally, and you're not being a ripoff. It's an inspiration, and you are creating this
Well,
as
kind of ripped it off, but
doesn't everybody derive off of each other though? I think
I
that's
guess.
been, yeah, yeah,
You didn't really think about it. Like, I'm not stealing this, but we
right,
kind of did. It was it was just so cool, so
yeah. Do you
anyway.
ever worry about that though? You're creating a song, and you're like, can somebody just check maybe through AI or something if I'm ripping off Bowie or Zeppelin or somebody? Is somebody gonna
I
come
have
after
written
me?
songs before and like a year later gone, oh my God, I think I think I got that from I hear another song on the radio. I think, uh-oh, I think that might be very similar to this one. But yeah. It's impossible though at this. You hear so much music. It's
Right.
hard to not be close to something here and there, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, when they were trying to do that Stairway to Heaven and they were like brought that lawsuit on, and you're like, oh my gosh. I mean, how do you know? You're just sitting there, you're coming up with these melodies, you think you're being original. You don't know. It could have been out there in the ether, and then somebody tries to come out with a lawsuit.
Oh my God. Yeah, I don't know.
That's kind of a bummer to hear that.
It
Basically
is a
when that
problem.
happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because nobody's meaning to rip somebody off.
Well,
It's
except for Vanilla Ice,
yeah.
rip it. I
Well, yeah,
mean,
actual samples.
that's pretty clear rip off there.
Yeah. Yeah, those guys know it. They know they're going to be giving up some coin there, especially doesn't Doesn't like Sting get a bunch of money from somebody who sampled him? I keep getting that in my social feed. Sting gets like 1 million a day from so and so who like sampled Every Breath You Take or something like that.
He might be, yeah, you might be right. I bet he does.
Yeah.
Vanilla Ice must be paying or I mean, a huge
Oh
money.
yeah.
I mean, it's the same, dun dun
Big
dun dun dun. He tried
Vanilla
to
Ice.
rationalize it one time. I think, like he was like, "No, it's mine's dun 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 dun." He's trying to like differentiate between himself and you know the Queen song, and didn't fly.
Yeah, it's tough out there. And are you getting into doing music videos? Are you getting into YouTube? Do you have a channel?
I do. I actually, here you can't really see. I think I got it blurred out, but I'm down here at my farm house, and been a farm. It's been in my family forever, my whole life basically. And we were talking about, oh, we need some video to go along with the music. I'm like, okay. And they're like, well, where do you want to shoot it? Blah 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 blah. And I was like, well, I got this farmhouse down here, and sent them some pictures, and they're like, we're coming there. So if you see the videos, they came down and dressed me up, walked out in some
Mhm.
fields and near some tractors, and out here in the country. And but I think it came out all right. So, but this is where we shot it. Got a few videos to go along with the one. Here I come. There's a video that goes along with that. You can see I was standing in a sunflower field right up the dirt road here, and then uh, the next two are, you know, one in a field, one down by the tractor here. So
Yeah,
um,
yeah. It's all
anyway,
about promotion, getting yourself on YouTube and getting people to
yeah,
stumble on it. It used to be a little bit
yeah,
easier with MTV, but yeah.
yeah, yeah. So anyway, got them all. Got those shot at least, and then we'll
Good.
see when they come out.
Good. So the origin, here's the elephant in the room. You go by Slaw. You got away from Scott Colson, which, that does sound like your typical Nashville artist name, Scott Colson. So
Colson, yeah,
Slaw
that's
has
very
a little so
talking.
people, yeah, it was like kind of blurred together and they just started calling you Slaw, Coleslaw actually.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah. So Colson, yeah, coleslaw, and then lazy ones, slaw. So, when I'm thinking about, yeah, glad you mentioned Sting. So, I'm just like him now.
There you go.
Sting, Prince, Slaw. So there you go. Yeah, that's how it all went down. So,
Yeah, so if you actually do a search and you're searching for slaw, you're gonna get a lot of coleslaw recipes. So, um, so what is the website and the YouTube
Slaw
channel?
Music,
So
slawmusic.com. Yeah, thank
Slaw
you.
Music. Yeah, yeah. Don't do that general Google search. It's just
Yeah. No,
great,
yeah, a lot of coleslaw. Right. You're exactly right. Yeah. A lot of
great
food in that
coleslaw
area.
recipes. That's cool. I think it makes it easier. Yeah, it can kind of stand out and instead of having more of a generic name. I have a buddy, his name is Dave Burkhart, but he changed it to Burkhart, just going by his last name and uh spelled it Burkheart. So he's in that same genre. I think he does a little bit more Christian rock music as
Okay.
well.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Naming, getting your name is like the hardest part of the whole thing, because you think of like 1,000 names, and by the time at some point it just becomes all noise, and
Yeah. Yeah.
just pick one. Damn it, let's just go.
Used to be like your record execs would come out there and like, well,
Yeah,
John Mellencamp's not gonna really fly. Well, how about Cougar? It's like, it's like, oh really? Do I have to go by that? And he put up with that for so many years.
it worked.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but
Yeah, it's not as cut and dry getting out there now. Like people like you can get out there. You don't have to go through that traditional, hey, I got to get signed to Arista or something like that.
right,
It's a different business now.
right. Oh, for sure. And I think it's opened the music world up to so many different people, and gives somebody like me an opportunity to get it, this at my, point in my life. You know what I'm saying? There's no way that would ever happen, before. There's just the opportunity wasn't really there, I wouldn't say. So the landscape of it today really opens it up to so many more people from so many different walks of life. And I think it's just good, all the way around.
Yeah. So Here I Come is the title track. What inspired you to call the whole album that? Has it got a lot of meaning to you?
Yeah, well, I think the whole it has two meanings really to me. One, Here I Come, if you listen to the lyrics, it's kind of there's a few songs that we already talked about, Hang My Head and Cry. Um,
Yes.
and Here I Come. It's kind of that I find myself, and I didn't necessarily purposely doing it, but it's just kind of this hang in there type feeling. And I think I kind of feel that this, point, that hey, if you can stay the course and follow your passions and fail like you mentioned and get back up, good things can happen. And Here I Come is really all about that, right? It's hey, if you it's if you the lyrics on there are just hold my head up, so I don't drown, basically. Just let me hang in there until I find the right direction, and when that direction comes, strike and make it happen. So Here I Come is all about that, and the it also kind of makes a lot of sense, I think, as a first album, an opening album. Hey, here I come. So it's all about hey, here I come into the music world too. So it's really those two double meaning, if you will. So
Yeah. Yeah, that all works. Always that cohesion. You have
yeah.
Great Harmonies on here by Kaylee Hill.
Yes.
Couple of tracks here. How did
Yep.
that all come about? How did that relationship all come about?
Well, again, with Sean, it's just amazing. I was like, hey, I'd really like to get some female vocals on this one and this one. I go, female vocalist, and it's like, yeah, of course. I'm like, okay, can you send me can you send me something so I can listen to her, see what it sounds like? He goes, yeah, I think I got something. She was on The Voice like last last episode or something. I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
well,
one of the
ring the bell, and
seasons.
I heard it, just amazing sound, and yeah. So then, same thing, brought her in, said, hey, we want it here, here, and here. And as again, it's one of those things when, played it back, just beautiful voice. And, really, I just thought, really stepped things up exactly where they needed to be in those songs.
Yeah, yeah, that's a pretty personal song if I haven't found you. I mean that you're right what you know. That's what I
Yeah,
always say. So
yeah,
that's yeah,
it is.
beautiful,
And
the
that
acoustic.
one's, yeah, and that one's really about my wife. That's obviously very personal, and that's the truth. When she found me or I found her, however it was, when I was, whatever, late 20s, didn't have a lot of direction, just messing around, what. And, I hope that people can really relate to that. It's a personal song for me, but at the same time, I really hope people can relate to finding that one person that makes all the difference, in their life, and hopefully, people can hear that in that and relate to it in their own relationship.
Yeah, yeah. So getting out there, you got videos, you're promoting yourself. Where you make the big bucks is really in live performing. So do you
Yep.
have a tour schedule coming up?
Well, we're putting that together now with Aaron, yeah, and hope to be making an announcement with that. Probably we will start that right after the record comes out in November, and really excited about it. And yeah, I hope the details will be out soon.
Very good, very good. Yeah, so it sounds like it's a great project coming out here in November of 2024. It's a great time to be in the Southeast. Fall time finally is happening. Usually that weather doesn't break until mid-October. It's just I've been here many moons to experience the heat and humidity here.
Yeah, it's brutal, but we'll get there. We're almost there. Almost
Yeah.
through.
But the South does. It has a lot to say, and it's great to speak with somebody who has is from this area and to see that there's just such an amazing amount of talent here. And have you been back to Macon in more recent years?
Well, I have a family that lives near Macon, so have never really, kind of left. But yeah, I get down there every now and then. I get down there every now and then, not too often. But here, where I am right now at my farmhouse is Central Georgia. I'm like 20 minutes from Macon right now,
Oh,
so
good. Okay.
close enough. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's just and do they still have is there a Music Hall of Fame still there, or is that long gone?
I think that's. I don't think that's there anymore. But they, Capricorn Studios over
Oh, I
there
love that. I
is
I went to
now.
that house. Yeah.
Yeah, Capricorn, I believe they've done I haven't been to it, but I have a friend of mine who told me about it and has seen it. And I think they've done a really nice job in making that a place you can visit and seeing the history. It's got a really deep history over to Capricorn. So that's
Yeah.
something to check out if you're in Macon for sure.
Yeah, if you're in Macon, that Allman Brothers house, that's still going, and it's just
Yeah,
it's really cool. Yeah, I love that
it is.
design and everything down there. And this guy named Chuck Lavelle, who was once a part of them, and just yeah,
My
great
God.
guy,
Yeah.
Chuck
Yeah, great
Lavelle.
stories from Macon in there in that diner. Do you see that
Yes, I've
recent
been to that
documentary?
diner. Yeah.
Have you? Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, it's really neat. Wow. Thanks for stopping by. I really enjoyed hearing from you, and best wishes on the tour and with this new album, Here I Come, out November 1st. And enjoy. Yeah, get it wherever you get music. It's do you have a CD, LPs, all that?
CDs and LPs are being printed as we speak, but first single just came out on Spotify and all the other places you can stream your music. And I think they have two more coming out here before November. So keep an eye out.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for stopping by. Really appreciate it.
I really thoroughly enjoyed it. We're neighbors, so we'll need to get together. Let me know when you're in Chattanooga. We'll grab a
Yeah.
cocktail, a
I would
speakeasy.
love to do that. I really would. That would be a lot of fun. And if you ever play here, especially Eddie's Attic, I always give them a good plug here. Eddie's Attic in Decatur.
Absolutely,
Or
cool
if you're in
place.
the Atlanta area, yeah, definitely.
Will do. Thank you very much, Bob.
Have a good one. Take care. Well, I hope you had a good time listening to my talk with Slaw. Great time. And we'll have many more of these kind of episodes out. But here we are, fall 2024. Finally, that heat broke. So speak with you next time. Take care.